Okay, well, good morning. My name is Hanno. I'm the Executive Director from the Chamber of Commerce in Rio de Janeiro, the German-Brazilian Chamber of Commerce. And we had a long tradition dealing with logistics. We have working groups and always in great alliance with BVL from Bremen and from Sao Paulo. And this is a real fascinating area, and we are very proud to have this commitment with BVL because they are very engaged in logistics, and we want to promote always good topics. And I think the event from today, it's most interesting because of all the COVID situation. We only have 1 hour. We have top speakers, and I would like to hand over to Stefan Grüner from BVL and have a good event. Thank you.
Thank you, Hanno, for the introduction. Well, first of all, a warm welcome to all our participants and also to our speakers. Now we have here today Lívia Simões, Senior Manager from the Connectivity Platform of the Volkswagen Group, Rio, and Stefan Rehm, CEO and co-founder of IntelliPost. We have to excuse the absence of Professor Dr. Straube. He was planned to participate at the end of the session, but he had a COVID case of a friend, and so he cannot be here with us today. So we are still having people logging in, and well, I will start with some points that we will go through the webinar today. So we will have here today 2 different platforms. One is the connectivity platform of Rio, which is oriented on the transport business and with innovative tools also to benefit the process on the transport chains. And we have the freight management platform IntelliPost, which is an integrator between shippers and carriers, a freight management integrator, adding value also with innovative software solutions. So both have something very interesting. First of all, they are in the transactional business, so between offer and demand, playing a very important role between the solutions, and they also adding value with innovation. And this makes it different to traditional business models, and we are here today to see something different. The difference to the traditional businesses is, I think, will be very clear here in the seminar, and we will see how is this scalability of this business solution, which is very, very attractive for the market. So there are the challenges of the transport business, which is always very fragmented. So a lot of players on the offer side, transport companies. We have the supply side with numerous customers. And we have in the transport chains numerous systems. We have different process variation, many process variations, and different solutions applied. So this makes it very interesting and very challenging. And that is what we will hear today with Lívia and Stefan. So we will then at the end of the presentations have a Q&A session of 15 minutes. So Fernand will lead the session. And please also send your questions during the webinar, and we will work on them, and then we will discuss them with our speakers. So let's start with Lívia. Lívia has a long career at the Volkswagen Group, started as trainee and participated in many projects, and in the last year was very strongly involved in the launching of the light and heavy trucks, extra heavy trucks, and also buses. And now recently she is the responsible senior manager of the Rio platform for Brazil. So Lívia, we are very happy to hear what you can talk about this very interesting topic.
Thank you, Stefan. So I would kindly ask Renato to share the presentation, please. Please check if the audio is also on.
Yes, we can hear.
Okay, please can you put in the presentation mode? I think it's better.
So I'm already in the presentation mode here.
We can't see the screen.
Okay. Can you see in the presentation mode?
Not yet. It's okay for you all to have this kind of presentation?
I think it's okay if it's not going to the presentation mode.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me to join you today in this webinar to share valuable experiences and to learn with each other about the digital platforms on transport industry transformation and all the interfaces in this regard. So first of all, I would like to thank BVL Brazil and German Brazilian Chamber of Commerce for the invitation. This opportunity is greatly appreciated. So my name is Lívia Simões, and I'm responsible for Riolatam, the digitalization and connectivity brand at Traton Group and Volkswagen Caminhões e Ônibus. Please, Renato, we can move on. In the slide 2, please.
It's not going on.
No.
No.
Fernando, can you try, please?
Can you see the second slide?
No.
Strange. For me, it's already on the second slide.
I think when you choose the screen to project from, you would need to choose the one that is full screen now. Maybe you can stop the presentation mode, but leave the presentation full screen mode and go back to Zoom and then choose again the new window, which should be maximized.
Okay.
Sorry for this issue. Okay, it's okay now, Renato, thank you. So I will start talking about the transportation ecosystem and all the mega trends impacting on our society, the major concerns and awareness on sustainability and climate change impact for the future generations, as well as for the present moment, promotes valuable reflections on our habits and new growth paradigms, including new consumption partners, major values-based shifts, and also reducing resource use with focus on the energy transformation enabled by IoT and digitalization. Assuring digital resilience with a robust connectivity along with all resources from artificial intelligence and robotics, we reach the new era of autonomous everything, where the digital platforms have a key role on sustainability, contributing on transport industry transformation, and especially on the life of billions of people around the world. We can move on, please. Okay, and 4.0 technologies enhance the integration and cooperation of the supply chain with OEMs, logistics companies, shippers, and carriers connected to the customers through a scalable automation process with very competitive costs and increasing business agility. The permanent transformational changes in the total transport industry follows the trends on technological, social, and business perspectives. This is the overview of the major trends that we have. We can move on. And in the present moment, we realize all the effects of the globalization maturation with the integration of the global supply chains, the importance to enhance risk management process and also to promote transparency. Aligned to this new growth paradigms and the new economy, there is an urgent demand for deliveries monitoring to support the exponential rise of e-commerce, especially in the last year. All the digitalization comes as a core competence to enable this revolution, providing information in real time and anywhere to empower the trucks as part of digital supply chain. We can move on. So this increasing digital maturity process will move us forward to the new era of automation, allowing a higher efficiency and a competitive edge to understand our customer needs as diverse as the market in which they operate. And we realize that these initiatives and innovation process converge to the ecological awareness and to the optimization of the vehicle's use, focusing on the network concepts for urban centers and smart cities. We can move on. So the 4.0 technology also allow us to go further on sustainability. Promoting the efficiency increase towards a sustainable logistics. It's a key topic for our discussion. And the Volkswagen Group has the goal to achieve carbon reduction. We are faced by the greatest challenge in our company's history. We are addressing our responsibility for our share of global carbon emissions. That's why we are committed to complying with the Paris Climate Agreement with the goal of becoming a company with a net carbon neutral balance by 2050. A joint effort for great climate protection with initiatives on all perspectives along with our people. We can move on. So, and in this general context, we do believe that the digital platforms have a key role in the transport industry revolution, improving the quality of each of our lives, aligned to all this technology involved. And now I'm pleased to present Rio, our digital platform of Traton Group and Volkswagen Caminhões e Ônibus. We can move on. What's Rio? So Rio, it's the global brand for digital services in the transport industry of Traton Group. Its goal is to increase the efficiency and the profitability in freight transport through data-driven intelligence. And now we have a video of Rio. I would kindly ask you, Renato, to play. Let's check the audio. No, there is no audio. We have to check, please. No, without audio. Anna, can you support us, please?
Maybe it's what we said yesterday, that you need to allow share your computer audio.
Let's check. when we share a screen, maybe there is a box with this option to turn on the audio. No? Let's try again. No? We don't have the audio. Fernando, can you try, please? So I try to share from my computer. Just a minute, please. Can you stop, Renato? And I can share. I can try to share from my computer.
Done.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, let's try. Please check if you can have the audio.
From the beginnings
Yes,
of civilization, trade flourished along rivers. Later, many other means of transport helped to advance trade and make people and societies prosperous. But today, it will once again be a river that marks the next step in the evolution of trade and logistics. Only this time, the river doesn't flow with water, but with data. Rio, the logistics flow, is a new comprehensive data platform for the whole supply chain. Rio is cloud-based, open for all, and connects everyone and everything in the logistic ecosystem. Isolated information silos will increasingly become a thing of the past. Everyone will win with Rio because digitizing the logistics ecosystem on one platform boosts efficiency for all. It improves the use of resources dramatically because you always know how to avoid waste. It reduces complexity because it brings together separate sources of information. It enables real-time decision-making because finally there is sufficient data available. New services, new partners. Rio is constantly growing and improving. Just as a river grows when tributary rivers make it more powerful, Rio expands its performance with every new partner, creating more and more value for all. Rio is good for big businesses, and Rio is good for small businesses. The only native piece of hardware it requires is the Rio box, and this box can be easily installed in any FMS-ready vehicle. All the computing and data analysis take place in the cloud, and the results can be shown on all the devices you already own, computers, smartphones, or tablets. Implementing Rio is easy, and it is also easy to learn, easy to use, and easy to adjust. You only have to book the Rio services you need and arrange them on your dashboard as you like. Booking Rio services is as easy as online shopping. Go to the marketplace, select what you want, and you're good to go. No longer need a service. Canceling is just as easy. The aim is to connect everyone and everything in the world of logistics, and by doing so, to make logistics more efficient and sustainable than ever before, eliminating being stuck in traffic jams, empty runs, and all other wastes of time, money, and resources. We want to bring everyone together and let logistics flow.
Okay, please, Renato, can you share again your screen? Great. We can move on. So this is Rio. Our mission is to connect all the transportation ecosystem, enabling a collaborative logistic chain and also prioritizing the best experiences for our customers. The surveys performed present that intelligent transportation system can improve the efficiency up to 50%. So, and we have a key role in these targets. And we can move on. Rio also digitalizes all the logistic chains, optimizing a cost-effective way to improve the sustainability and higher competitiveness within the logistics industry. So in the complete scenario that we have. Also, with Rio, we have clear benefits along the entire value chain, increasing the transparency and the ability to act. So managing digital supply chain, optimization by simplification of the business process, and promoting the network of data resources in the partner network, which has a strong relevance in the logistic chain to promote the higher efficiency on the transportation. So we have also some data that on average, 25% of the trucks across major global economies travel empty each day. So, and we identified this great opportunity to reduce this kind of situation. And through the digital platforms, we do have this opportunity. So we have another demonstration of Rio in the sequence. And I can present from my computer to have the sound. No, I will try again. Please let me know if you can see the screen and also audio the video.
We can see and hear.
From the beginnings.
No.
Yes, we can.
It's another one. This one.
How do we collect and provide data? The Rio box is like a little magic box that can collect all the data from the truck and transform it into valuable information for fleet managers. So, how does it work? The Rio box connects both the trailer and the truck using a mobile SIM card connection that transmits all the data to Rio's cloud service. Information about speed, location, fluid levels, driver's actions, parts maintenance status, among others, are collected. Focusing on performance and security, all vehicle data is encrypted. In addition, the box comes with enough storage capacity for long-term performance and is not affected by poor signal areas. This way, the fleet manager can access all the data from his computer, tablet or smartphone as long as the device is connected to the internet and runs on Windows 7 or later operating system.
Okay. So let's have the presentation again, please. I can't see the presentation. Yeah, okay. So now I would like to share some experiences on digital services at Volkswagen Caminhões e Ônibus, where Rio is full connected to the Volkscare in order to offer a complete services portfolio to the commercial vehicles market and also to provide the best uptime and TCO for our customers' operations. So we can move on. Great. Here we have some examples of Rio dashboards available for fleet management system, allowing information sharing on real time to support decisions making process also on real time and a higher agility on the daily business operations. We can move on. We have the key features from Rio connectivity services. which enable real-time monitoring of the vehicles, the performance analysis, the uptime center, also the predictive maintenance, very important to assure the availability and the uptime for the operations, and all of them promoting a significant operation cost reduction. Also offering customized solutions based on each customer application and demand according to each situation. And we can move on. So through the integration of Rio with Volkscare, we offer a complete portfolio of solutions promoting a customer digital journey along the vehicle's life cycle. And it's really very valuable for all the transportation industry and the vehicle's life cycle in our country. So the data-driven intelligence, considering information from the vehicles and drivers' performances, enable a higher efficiency and also a sustainable transportation. This is the key factors for the Rio digital platform, along with Volkscare services. And concluding my presentation, I would like to highlight the great contribution of Rio, our digital services platform, as a key tool and enabler for connecting all the initiatives related to the 4.0 technologies in the transport industry, as well as in the dealers, to understand our customers' needs and also to offer the best experiences for them, aligned to their necessities. And concluding, we are Rio, always on, creating value, aggregating value for the customers and for the complete ecosystem, growing further together because it's a continuous improving process, and also ready for the new transformative changes to come. So thank you very much for your attention, and vielen Dank.
Thank you, Livia. I'm just trying to switch on my camera here. This is, very interesting. As I understood, here in Brazil, you're starting with the Rio solutions, embarking the technology on your own products first. Now, this is, I think, the main strategy at the moment.
Yes,
so you're looking
correct.
also for the future. Also, as I read something about that, you're also offering these solutions outside of the Volkswagen brand vehicles, the technology, and also then expanding this to different solutions also into the process up to the, let's say, logistics flow between the different actors in the supply chain.
Yeah, and as I said, it's a continuous improving process. So we have many initiatives to grow further with new partnerships and to have additional features on our Rio platform.
Great. So in the questions and answers, we will have some other questions, of course. So we will then go to the presentation of Stefan Reh, CEO co-founder of IntelliPost. It's the biggest freight management platform in Brazil today, Stefan. And the company was founded in 2014, I think,
That is correct. That's correct. Hi, Stefan. I'm at the end of the meeting. And good morning, everybody. Thanks for the introduction and thanks for the invite, and pleasure to be here with everybody. I'm sharing my screen here. I hope you'll be able to visualize the presentation. Yes. Please tell me if you do so. And yes, indeed. So I'm Stefan. I'm German, but I founded IntelliPost as a Brazilian company here in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, in 2014, and I'll be talking a little bit about benefits and challenges of digitizing the transport market, and actually, quite similar to Rio, I guess, in a different segment of the market, but it shows that the overall macro trend of digitizing the supply chain is indeed real, and there's several serious actors on this. A few words to myself. So this is me. This is a picture taken before COVID, where I look a lot younger, obviously. I came to Brazil in 2012. Started working on in two e-commerce companies, Natui and Evino, as COO and head of logistics. I then switched over to work for a carrier, a last mile carrier here in Brazil, also in the capacity of COO, and thereby really was able to dive into Brazilian logistics and all the ins and outs and difficulties of this market. And then those two experiences led me to found IntelliPost as a freight management system in Brazil in 2014. And so today we're actually a group. Our main product still being in IntelliPost, which is, in other words, a TMS or a multi-carrier shipping software started by me and my Brazilian co-founder Gabriel in 2014. But we received some investment early last year, luckily before the pandemic, and that was enough for us to build out two other solutions with Pega Key and Agile Process. Pega Key being a drop-off point software, which is very important for the last mile, and Agile Process, which today is probably the leading routing and real-time visibility software for the last mile in Brazil. And those three brands and products form the IntelliPost group. Today we're about 350 people here in Sao Paulo, working all remotely in tackling this challenge in digitizing the supply chain. And when you look at what we mean in sort of like the supply chain, I love this this overview, because this is how we sort of perceive the ecosystem. So many of the orders are generated by one or many sales channels where they're sold by the shippers. The shippers often use a 3PL warehouse operator who then passes the goods onto the first carrier, who then subcontracts the second one and a third one, who uses a driver to deliver it to the customer. Right? That's the general flow. In the last mile, in the past 3 years, we've also seen that there's a big omni-channel component popping up. So stores being part of the delivery chain, Pudos and lockers also participating in the logistics play. And the way that we see us as IntelliPost Group is, for the last mile, we want to be this company here in the middle that orchestrates and connects everybody to each other. And our vision is that every stakeholder and every participant in the value chain here does one piece of their process via our system. So we don't have a magic box, unfortunately, maybe not yet. But we're 100% software-based, cloud-based platform where we advance our solutions to the different stakeholders, and the three different brands fit perfectly into this system where IntelliPost, as the shipping software, works mostly with the demand side, so the sales channels, the shippers, and the warehousing operators. Agile, as the routing and real-time visibility solution, works really closely with the supply side down here with the carriers and drivers. And Pega Key works up here with the omni-channel component, helping out on that part. And we do all of that, via a cloud-based software solution, providing real-time visibility to clients like Nespresso, but also the real delivery options in real time to make logistics more efficient and streamlined. And so when we talk about digitizing the supply chain, the supply chain is a complex construct of flows, payments, and digital information that's obviously been around for a number of years. And when we talk about digitizing, what we mean is actually optimizing the flow in between those different steps in the value chain, but also within each and every single step of the supply chain. And as we take one of those steps and zoom in, we come exactly back to this layout where there's the different actors here that all participate in the goods of flows and the flows of goods, and they all want to produce information and consume information from all of it, and that is obviously the big challenge that everybody is working on: how to make that efficient, how to make that fast and cheap, and also politically correct for every single stakeholder. I think this is very important in the times of data protection, data privacy, and I guess it's what we're all working on. Now, what are the challenges? I would say it's a very large industry in almost every country. I think in Brazil, transportation is 7% of GDP. So that's like $100 billion, huge. But still, it's plagued by fragmentation. So in Brazil, there are thousands and thousands of carriers and even millions of drivers that all participate in that. And in that sense, it's a bit different than, let's say, Germany or other Western countries where there has been some consolidation in the logistics market. Brazil is still very, very fragmented, and we have to say that it's actually quite low tech. So when I started in working in logistics in Brazil in 2012, I frequently visited carriers that didn't have a single computer in their hubs and warehouses, and that was sort of shocking for me. But also as an entrepreneur, made me more confident that this was an opportunity to actually dive into the market and provide a solution to help the industry overall. And lastly, one of the issues here in the market is sort of what we call poor customer experience, which is basically mostly pushed and driven by e-commerce, but then also flowing down to all of the other logistics segments in the market, where basically the customers, and here we're more talking about the people within those customers, they're used to ordering food delivery and getting their food delivery delivered to the house in like 30 minutes or at most 60 minutes with real-time tracking and real-time problem resolution. That is what the consumer and the pessoa física, so the individual people, are getting used to and are getting accustomed to, especially during COVID. And this expectation from the people, want it or not, will really transcend to all of the other logistics experiences that we work with in B2B, be it in upstream logistics or in downstream logistics. And so today we have really bad customer experience, I feel. But I guess both Rio and us and several other companies are working on helping to solve that for the future. And so also another challenge is integration. Obviously, I guess in the 1980s we all used phone and fax. In the 2000s or 90s and 2000s, EDI came around, and today we should be talking about APIs, right? Real-time data integrations in the cloud. That should be really the standard of today. Unfortunately, in logistics, it's still not the norm. It's still not the standard. We're still relying too much on EDI, which is really an outdated technology and comes with lots of drawbacks and issues. And so this is also one of the issues that is a challenge for us and for the industry. And you see that this box here is blacked out or white out, and I'll come to that as the last slide of my presentation, because I feel there is sort of a next step here. There is a solution evolving from API that certainly represents the future. But today we're here, and we're still not quite there. But COVID. When COVID came around, I think it acted as a big accelerator, and sort of we saw unprecedented growth, at least in the last mile, and unprecedented and also unplanned growth. So in e-commerce, we had more or less 180 million deliveries in 2019. This was expected to grow 70% to reach about 210 million deliveries, but the pandemic came around and the market grew to, by 100% to more or less 360 million deliveries in 2020. So 100% year-on-year growth, that's enormous. That's very considerable. And this was obviously a huge challenge for everybody in the last mile in terms of capacity, processes, people, work time, workload. And I guess everybody that works in the last mile sort of had their stories and war stories about this. But this was obviously a big challenge for everybody in the market. And so, there's also a few solutions that we came around and that we had a look at and were able to deploy. So in the old world, right, integration is like this, right? This is sort of a mess where every single player integrates with all of the other players in the market. You see shippers integrating with different carriers, warehousing operators, insurance brokers, and players of averbação, hardware manufacturers, and this is really complex, right? And not from an industry standpoint, not very efficient and streamlined. What we're working towards as IntelliPost and is really like taking this salad of integrations and confusion and streamline it, right? So these are the same actors in the same industry, but streamlined on one technological interface between the different companies. So I'll go back one slide for the visual effect to set in. So this is real. This is streamlined. This is efficient, right? And this is sort of what we're working on and building for the industry. There's one common interface, there's one common infrastructure to make logistics happen in the market. And the good news is that in our industry, at least, we've seen a huge inflow in investment. So as we want to make this happen, the standardizing of the logistics flows, we need investment from ourselves. We managed to raise around $40 million for this project from the financial industries. But also our clients and our partners in the market have really announced huge investments in logistics, which certainly shows that we're onto something, and the market is also onto something in digitizing the supply chain. And we did a few survey with executives, and in the past year through pandemic, we managed to advance 5 years in one and really showing fast progress, which makes us very optimistic for the future. And one of the big trends that I talked about earlier was real-time monitoring, real-time visibility. And what we mean by that is basically exemplified here. So, as when you get yourself an Uber, or when you order from iFood, Rappi, or other food platforms, you basically click a button, and as soon as you hit the button, you see in real time the driver coming from their destination to you, to your home. That's become standard nowadays, right? Every consumer is really expecting that from any service that is in ride-hailing like Uber or 99, or in food delivery. And so what we're working on is bringing that to traditional e-commerce and traditional goods delivery, not only in the last mile, but also in B2B, and other more upstream segments of logistics, where we have the traditional like status history, but at the same time a very clear indication of when the good will be delivered with a short time frame. So here you see the time frame is like a 7-minute, actually 5-minute time window, and the end consumer or the customer can actually see the vehicle approaching and making the delivery happen. So this is actually a real screenshot of our solution and part of what we're providing to the market, and the market is really expecting that. And part of the solution is not only to have the real-time monitoring, which is the result, the end result actually, but to get there, you actually need a real sophisticated dynamic routing system to figure out which logistics resources are available at which time, in which region, planning the routes and executing those routes according to plan. And then, because it's all dynamic and all changing all the time, make changes to the plan as it's ongoing, and sort of like your Uber application updates the delivery time, the ETA in real time. This is also something that needs to be done here in traditional goods delivery. Part of the solution here is obviously a driver app that puts the shipper in contact with the driver, right? So that's the single biggest trend that we're seeing, and this is great for customer experience. This is great for customer loyalty and customer repurchase, which in the end translates into profitability for everybody in the market. Okay, so another revolution that we've seen in the last mile is Pega Aqui, which turns mom and pop stores and very small retailers, which have suffered the most actually during the pandemic, and turns those little mom and pop stores into temporary storage places, where we use mobile technology to actually make fulfillment for the last mile happen, or allow consumers to go to the store, pick up their e-commerce package, and then as they're in the store also purchase one of those healthy snacks and go home happy and well alimented. So that's another I guess big trend that's happening in Germany. We've seen parcel lockers and parcel shops actually also taking off a number of years ago. Now this is coming to Brazil and is really disrupting and democratizing the last mile supply chain in Brazil. And I think Livia also talked about this. ESG is a big trend that's also becoming a lot more important. Everybody wants to save greenhouse gas emissions. We want to promote green delivery, so delivery by bike, delivery by electronic vehicles is becoming quite a difference maker actually. And one of the things in Brazil that is one of my personal mission actually is to make a delivery without a single piece of paper, which is today is everybody who works in logistics knows how it is. Sometimes there's like a small box or one simple pallet and like 40 sheets of paper, which is not really sustainable at all, right? So that's part of what we're striving towards. And in digitizing the supply chain, we also reduce the number of paper that is used, and that certainly contributes to a better environment. Well, socially also, logistics has grown in the past year, and has become more important. This generates a lot of jobs, also for people that are on a bottom spectrum of educational level. So it's a good way to include people in the formal labor market and engage them into regular labor, which is certainly a great outcome for this social dimension here. And obviously governance is a big part, and we had to realize that logistics still is somewhat intransparent and somewhat informal, and we hope that we can, with better processes and a streamlined process and digital process, we can help the sector become more transparent and better governed. So that is sort of what the futures are what the solutions looking like today. As we look into the future, and I don't want to get into all of those little boxes here, just a few other key trends that we see. One is the Uberization of delivery. So back in the day, or the old way of doing logistics is, fixed contracts, long-term contracts between the shipper and the carrier. We don't see fixed contracts going away, but we see that becoming more flexible and more elastic, right? Which is a great term, because as we have those spikes in demand, we also need to be able to provide enough supply to be able to deliver the goods, and the Uberization, so the on-demand contracting of delivery resources is a key trend that's going to shape the future of Brazilian logistics. And we're not only talking about those Uber and delivery food bikes, but we're talking about trucks, line haul trucks, last mile, first mile trucks, all delivery resources that we can think of, including warehousing resources. So this will be cada vez mais on demand. Real-time tracking, I think we already talked about this, and trade is also becoming more cross-border, which is definitely one of the key trends, and logistics needs to cater to that. And coming back to my to my initial slide, and this is the last one here for me. Along the value chain, there is one big trend that I myself am very keen on, and I'm very intrigued by it, but I think it's still a bit in the future, which is, I think eventually all of this will happen, all of this integration will happen via a or several blockchains. And I say eventually because it's definitely not today. I don't think we're ready for blockchain just yet, but the technology itself is so fundamentally different and so amazing, actually, with amazing benefits, that it will be, in my opinion, just like phone, fax, EDN API, the next cornerstone of the technological backbone of logistics. So I'm very hyped and enthusiastic about it, but I think it's still another 3 to 10 years out until we'll see this really happening in our day-to-day lives. And with that, I say obrigado and thank you for the attention. And yeah, back to my Sharab, Stefan.
Hello, Stefan. Yeah, this is amazing to see how much engineering and process management is behind a good customer experience. And this is not customer experience only for the end customer that is waiting for the package, so for all the players at the end, the users in the operations. And if you look back a few years only in Sao Paulo, you made an order for e-commerce and you said, I'm in Sao Paulo and I have to wait 8 days for a delivery of a monitor or something coming. Yeah. And this changed a lot, and with a doubling of the volumes, this is really crazy even to understand how the service level is very good if we compare it to the past. So Yeah, big thank you to IntelliPost for this role inside the supply chains here in Brazil. Is really an effect that we can feel every day. I would like to start with one question. I'm very curious, Stefan. You started the con 2014, and we see now IntelliPost has so many solutions, so many functions. You have other brands that you integrated for last mile, for routing technology. But if you look a little bit back, what was the main problem that you solved at the beginning of the company, or the main functionality where you said, boy, I'm in the right way now with my company, my idea? What was one of these big triggers that you had?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest trigger was that I was actually running an e-commerce operation, right? I was the one that was suffering, and from that suffering, I really learned the real problems down on the ground, and used that suffering to create exactly the product that I wish I had when I was an operations director. And so I think there's so many different little things, I guess, that made the difference overall. Maybe the one that I can say is that like making integrations and connecting with the different players in the supply chain is really and excuse my French, is really I was going to use a word, but I'm going to use another one. It's a very bad, it's a very bad experience, and it's very difficult to do, to integrate with 50 different carriers and supply chain partners. That's really chato. That's really expensive to do, and that's why nobody is really doing it as well, right? Because it's really expensive, it's really difficult, and the added value you only see after investing a lot of time and money. And so what we did right, I think, in the beginning, we really doubled down on that and invested a lot of money, like millions of reais, in just building out this groundwork of digital integrations, and that's now paying off, right? After like 7 years in a company, this initial investment is paying off, but it didn't pay off for a long time, right? It didn't pay off, and it's sort of this ground R&D that sometimes companies need to do and need to invest in to make a difference in the long run, and not just look in the short term. And I feel sort of like Rio is actually doing the same with the Magic Box and their digital backbone. I think it's sort of the same bet and same investment.
So it was, let's say, at the other side of your customer side, when they felt, okay, the solution really reduces my bureaucracy. I think this is the big issue that we have in the transport business, like you said. There's a lot of potential. So
there is. It's one of the early days still.
Yeah, that's very good news. Well, Fernand, you want to join us? You have collected some questions from our audience.
Yes, thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Stefan Ham and Livia, also for the presentations. Let me open my video here. So I think we had two great examples, right, and very complementary platforms and solutions that really show us what the future is. And Stefan also brought a broader overview of how these trends on transportation look like, right? So very interesting topics, and I know we are tight on time, so I'll make one question for both of them, and I can ask Livia, please, to start answering this one. I think it's a very important topic when we discuss the digitization of these networks and of the supply chains in general, that companies and all the players in general get or they find constraints, and they might be worried about the data protection, right, and the safety of their data and we know that this integration means that their data is going somewhere else, and it's going to be shared in a pool that might be accessed by people that they don't feel comfortable with sharing that data. So, and Stefan brought a great, that's not an insight, but this trend about blockchain, and blockchain may be one of the solutions, but as he said himself, we don't know how many years it's going to take until we are able to actually implement and see blockchain as a sturdy solution, especially in Brazil. So, Livia, how do you feel? Have you faced constraints in data protection, or how do you see this in the future?
We follow all the regulations related to data protection, also assuring the cybersecurity and a context of digital resilience. I think it's the key action to assure the data protection of our customers, of the complete logistics ecosystem environmental.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and for you, Stefan, do you find it? Do you get this as a potential barrier, or do you have to handle this in a different way, or do you have this demand from the players that are willing to use your platform, for example?
Yeah, of course, everybody wants to be LGPD conform and data privacy conform. Because that's the law, right? And it really helps everybody as well, protects consumer data. But at the same time, you know, like we see that we can only create a streamlined process and an efficient process if we share data across the supply chain, right? So it's sort of a trade-off. Like, to work together efficiently, we need to share data, and like also this is sometimes very sensitive data, right? About customer information, order data, and so on. So we need to share that to work together better. But at the same time, we also need to protect the data. And it's a balance, and it's a very interesting debate that I think will go on for a long future. And I'm actually excited to see where this is going overall.
All right, nice. Thank you very much. And I think Stefan Grüne, as we are over time, and I know maybe our audience also has other appointments to take, but I would engage and invite anyone who has additional questions and these weren't able to be answered during the event. But I think the presentations were great, and it was excellent to use these extra minutes to see the great content you brought. But for everyone who's watching us, feel free to reach out to us or to AHK or to BVL via LinkedIn, and we'll be glad to answer the additional questions. So thank you again, Livia. Thank you, Stefan, and for the AHK. And I'll hand back to you again, Stefan, so you can make a closure.
Yeah, so a big thank you for both Livia and Stefan. This was really very interesting, like Fernand said. No? Unfortunately, we have to close the webinar now. And well, we just for the whole audience, we will organize a third event in 3-4 months. So after the holidays of July, August, September. So if somebody wants to send ideas, topics, can send it to me through LinkedIn. We will discuss it, or has some speakers to recommend. So we are open for that. And yeah, thank you to everybody, and we hope to see you also personally when this pandemic, I think hopefully in the second semester, will go down, and the e-commerce and the logistics, I think, will continue to flow as it is. And I think this was a big accelerator what we learned now. And well, we have learned lessons, and I think we have to look for a better future. And I think the contribution of both companies is very important for that, looking also for the social impacts and environmental impacts. So this is very, very positive to hear from both of you. So thank you, everybody.
Special
Thank you.
Thank you. All the
Bye-bye.
best.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.